Welcome to another episode of Wood Goblin Fabrication. So today in the shop, I am going to make a simple little shelf. It's going to be able to sit on the floor, or maybe you can hang it on the wall. But what's going to be unique about this is the fact that it's going to be shaped like a coffin. Why am I going to shape it like a coffin? I don't really have a good answer for you, other than it's just visually more interesting and fun to make than a square shelf. The other reason I want to make this shelf shaped like a coffin is because I've got some really nice scraps and leftover cuts that would be perfect for this project. And that is the goal right now for these next few things that I'm going to make. What can I use in the shop? What materials do I have already so I don't have to buy lumber and buy other things? What can I do with what I have? And I've got these perfect cutoffs. Let's make a coffin shelf. First, I'm going to take my scrap pieces that are all 3/4 of an inch thick and cut them down to equal size. Then I found some dimensions online, and that gave me the proper angles so I could make those cuts. After a few measurements and cuts, I have my first dry assembly. Next, I divide the inner cavity by 3, subtract the thickness of the shelves, and come up with my number for equal spacing. Then I assemble it pretty easily. All I have to do is line the pieces up with a little bit of tape on the other side, glue the corners, and tape everything together. Once assembled, I go through with my brad nailer and carefully shoot some brads into everything, keeping it together. Once the coffin is dry, I start cutting my shelves to the correct lengths very carefully and slowly and meticulously, making sure the angles are correct and the spacing is correct. Once I make sure it's all level, it's time to glue the shelves in place. Since I'm using scraps from the shop, the plywood has some cavities and holes in it, and I'm going to fill it with a combination of wood particles and wood glue. I then trace the coffin with a piece of 1/4 inch MDF for my backing. I make a quick cut of it using my bandsaw, and before I attach the back, I sand the hell out of the coffin. I then lay some wood glue down and attach the backing with some brad nails. The last thing before finishing is to run across the entire piece with my router so I can have a nice round edge. I then take the piece outside and spray it black. Because I wasn't totally satisfied with the black finish, I decided to give it a quick sanding for a nice weathered and textured look. Then I get to do the fun part, where I draw some designs up in Photoshop and project them onto the side of the coffin, making painting the images easier. Applying silhouette art to my custom furniture is my favorite part of the entire process. And again, I will sand the piece to continue the textured and weathered look. To lock everything in place, I wipe on some armor seal, which will protect the pieces for a long time. Once that first coat is dry, I give it a light sanding with 200 grit sandpaper and repeat the process 2 more times. And here is the finished piece. Now that I know how to build a coffin shelf, I'm going to make a much bigger one. Using the exact same technique, I cut my spare lumber down to size. However, with the larger one, I found that gluing the angles together was quite impossible. But I quickly came up with a pretty great solution. I took a piece of scrap wood, placed it underneath the angle, and traced it. I then cut the angled piece on the bandsaw to give myself something to grip some clamps to. Once I had my frame assembled, I gave the entire outer piece a good sanding. I added 3 shelves that were evenly spaced, adding a backing with MDF, and then I decided to paint it purple. I can't tell you what motivated me to build 2 different size coffin shelves, but I love them as pieces, and I really enjoyed the process of figuring out how to cut these angles and assemble everything. If you would like one of these coffin-shaped bookshelves, or something similar, or even something totally unique and customizable to you, please reach out to me at my website and place a custom order. Link in the description. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please go and check out my others.